Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Undisputed on this Friday. I'm Jen Hale alongside Skip Bayless and, a very happy Shannon Sharpe this morning.
The breakfast of champions.
Well, first of all, why are you talking? Why are you talking? This is my moment.
The nectar of the gods. It is yours today. That means you might actually, for the first time in a long time, have a good show today because you're drinking some dew.
Why you didn't tell me about this?
Where are the 80 cases you still owe me? I don't have any over here. I'm just empty.
See, every time I try to have a moment, you try to steal me and JT's moment.
Wait, why would you hold that up?
Okay, what about this one?
Okay, there you go. I told you. I've been telling you, you can't hold up the jersey of a guy who was 3 for 17 last night.
Hold on, how many assists did he have?
Well, those are the easiest assists I've ever seen. You just kick it to a guy who makes a 3. That's the cheapest assist I've ever seen.
All right, how you doing, Skip?
Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the Celtics. And in honor of your pick and in tribute to the Celtics, I decided to go with these.
So you try to steal my shine?
No, I'm just saying it's your day. It's your time to shine.
I call this.
Yeah. You called it.
Are you in trouble?
You told me that Boston was going to hit 21 threes last night. You told me they were just going to tear up little effing Stephen. It was effing Stephen. I knew I shouldn't have trusted effing Stephen on the biggest final stage.
Now you upset at Wardell Curry. He can't play it better than what he plays, Skip.
Effing Stephen.
Let me get.
You get 2 bumps today. You deserve it.
Go ahead, Jen. I don't have my little moment.
Run in the fourth was incredible, guys. So much to unpack with this game.
The Celtics did to the Warriors what the Warriors normally do to other teams, Skip, is that they get hot and they blow you out of the building. And in the first, you should have been really concerned in the first half because Stephen Curry can't get any hotter than what he was. And you looked up at the end of the first and you're like, we're only up 4 points. We're normally up 15. We're normally up 20. This is normally a double-digit ball game. And then in the second quarter, the Celtics go to the half like, man, Jayson Tatum is not playing very well. We got a couple of other guys who are not playing very well. And we got a 2-point lead. But true to form, what do the Warriors always do in the third? That's when they drop the hammer down on you. And they dropped the hammer down on us. I was like, I don't know, Boston. Y'all did a great job withstanding that first one. But can y'all withstand this flurry that they keep throwing at you? And then in the fourth quarter, JB got going. And then he hit a pull-up 3, Skip, and I'm like, hold on. This is a 5-point game. As great as they played in the third quarter. And then old Derek White, I told you, Skip, he's good for 2 games.
You didn't tell me. I told you from the start. I told you in his early days with the Spurs, this man has star quality, and Pop ruined him, Pop doghoused him, and Pop gave him to the Boston Celtics.
We sure appreciate that. Because I remember he had that game against, I think it was the Nuggets, and you and I talked about it, and you were like, well, I think he could be a star. I was like, I don't know about a star, Skip. I think he had a good game. And then he came along.
They ended up losing to the Nuggets in 7.
They did.
Go ahead.
But he had a couple of good games. And then Al Horford. Skip, Big Al started bombing threes. But, I mean, look, give the Celtics credit because they could have easily ran and tucked their tails. But I think they know deep down inside, we've been down by double digits before in 2 of the last 3 series in a game and found a way to scratch and claw ourselves and get back into the ball game. They're like, if we can hit a couple of shots and we can defend just a little and not give Looney offensive rebounds, Skip, because Looney was getting the offensive rebound, kick to Steph, 3, kick to Wiggins, 3, kick to Clay and Clay, 2 dribbles, and then he hit a 2. And then boom, boom, boom. I've never seen anything like the fourth quarter. Now, maybe you follow basketball longer than I have, but since the advent of the 3-point shot, there's no lead that's safe. And what they was able to do to the Warriors, Skip, this wasn't about offense, this was about defense. They got to be able to stop somebody. But the Celtics got hot, and that's what, Skip, a team get hot, what you do? Well, Al Horford is bombing threes. Derek White's bombing threes. Jaylen Brown's bombing threes. And then they put Marcus Smart, who's been on the bench the entire fourth quarter, and he comes in and bombing threes. You're like, if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm like, I just call time, hey, guys, come on. It demoralized them. And I know all the guys are saying all the right things, Skip. It's just one game. You can lose a game. But when you're up 15 and you're the Golden State Warriors and you lose, Skip, they had never lost a home game in the finals. At home, Yeah, they lost on the road when they was in Toronto. They lost game 1. But they don't normally lose game 1s at home. And when they're up 15, the Warriors damn sure don't lose 15-point leads at home. They did that. Give the Celtics credit. The Celtics are made of something different. They're different. And it was an unbelievable game, but I didn't see this coming. Skip, when they got to 15, I was like, damn, well, there go my 2 little cases. And then Jaylen Brown happened, and they they made their first 7. And you look at the numbers, Skip. I mean, when you shoot 50 plus 60% from the field, you shoot 50 plus % from the 3-point line for the game, the likelihood of you losing that game is not very good. Give the Celtics all the credit. They won this one. Golden State didn't lose this game, Skip. Boston won it.
I'm about to give effing Stephen all the discredit.
Oh, my goodness.
I will agree with you. In all my years of covering NBA playoff games and so many great NBA Finals games, I have never, ever seen anything like I witnessed last night.
No.
And if I had called you or you had called me with 2 minutes left in the third quarter and we had gone back and forth about the bet that was on the line, I would have increased it to 200 cases, not 2 cases. I would have bet you 200 cases that the Golden State Warriors at home, with the history you just detailed, at home with a 15-point lead with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, I would have bet you 200 cases they could get that home. And not only did they not get it home, they got blown off their own floor.
They did.
They swallowed nothing but their own medicine, Steph's medicine, like it was castor oil. From that moment forward, it was nothing but Boston, because would you believe that from that moment, 2 minutes left in the third, all the way down to the Bielitsa 3 that meant nothing at the very end of the game with 16 seconds left, if I just take that expanse of this game, would you believe Boston won that stretch 48-18? 48-18 on Steph's home floor in Steph's house in San Francisco to a team that obviously hadn't lost a playoff game this year at home.
Right.
What? It's impossibly great. And it started with a team that in Boston that shot 36% from the three-point line during the regular season, which ranked 14th in the league, so it's sort of average.
Right.
Had shot up to this point 36% through the playoffs, so they'd stayed right on course. This is who we are. We're a 36% team, and they've had a few high 20s and some low 30s.
As Milwaukee.
I know, that's exactly right. And then that happened? Are you kidding me? Before I get to F and Stephen, could we see the onslaught that happened from your Boston Celtics starting with a 12-point deficit going into the fourth quarter? Could we see what
This is just the fourth quarter, right?
Just the fourth quarter onslaught starting with your man, JB. Actually, he's my man. And it's a little contested. What you're going to see, that these are tough shots they're making. That one's a little bit more open from Jaylen Brown. And then here we go, a little kick out. Pritchard got in the act. Wait a second. Pritchard's in the game all the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah. That's what he do.
Marcus Smart got benched.
D. White.
Yeah, D. White. Here he comes again. Now that's highly contested.
That's the one that hurt.
That hurt. And then here we go. Oh, Al Horford's going to get in the act, and he is ripping him, man. There's nothing but net.
I mean, no second thought, nothing.
Just nothing but net. Al Horford. And here we go.
Marcus Smart gets in
finally came in with at the 2:30 mark, and he makes the 2 late daggers. And it's an impossible onslaught in the fourth quarter of what they have 9 of 12
9
threes,
of 12.
while Steph and company are 2 of 8 from 3. So they got outscored just in the fourth quarter from the Steph Memorial 3-point line. They got outscored by 21 points from the 3-point line. Well, guess what? You're going to lose, because every one of those threes, if we take them in order, we go, Jaylen Brown cut it to 7. Jaylen Brown cut it to 2. Then Pritchard cuts it back to 2. Then your man D. White, he cut it to 1. Then D. White ties the game. And then Horford puts you up 3, and Horford puts you up 6. And Marcus Smart puts you up 11. And Marcus Smart puts you up 14. Dagger, boom, game over. And it wasn't even close. I kept thinking, well, I guess the silver lining here is we're going to have a photo finish, man. It's going to go to the wire. We'll see what one team or the other is really, truly made of, right? It wasn't even close, because it was over with about 3 minutes to go.
It was.
So how do you go from down 15 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter to game over with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter on their floor in their building, in their town?
Skip, you know that in years, teams have always been able to come back, but it was over the course of an entire quarter, maybe the entirety of the second half. But since that three-point shot and the heavy emphasis on that, a 20-point lead can dissipate in 3 to 4 minutes. And that's what we saw. As you mentioned, you're down 15, and all of a sudden, in a span of 12 minutes, you're up 14. When you go 15 or 22 in the fourth quarter, that's 68%. 9 of 12 from the three, that's 75%. You only shot 1 free throw. You got 11 rebounds. Skip, they had 12 assists. So the ball was moving. The ball, like they say, the ball has energy. The ball was moving. And what do you do? Because, Skip, if you think about the first half, the Celtics are like, man, we letting Steph shoot these walk-up. We letting him shoot free throw threes. They weren't showing. Then all of a sudden in the second half, they started showing a little more. Robert Williams started showing. Al Horford started showing.
I actually thought the key was that Derek White started taking Steph far more than Marcus Smart did.
He did.
Because Derek White can flat move his feet.
Yes. And Skip, and I thought a lot of times they was like, look, if the guy that's coming, if Steph Curry's got whoever coming to set the screen, if you go with Steph. And it was like, Skip, they would leave him like, oh, I thought you, and I made Douglas look at him like, bro, we went over this. But Skip, if you gonna tell me if Boston's gonna shoot the ball like this, you know it's gonna be a sweep. I don't believe they can shoot the ball like this.
I don't either.
But you believe Jayson Tatum's gonna go another 3 of 17? Because he played bad and they still won by double digits.
Grant Williams scored 0 and they still won by double digits. Are you kidding me? Marcus Smart got benched for the first
8, 9 minutes of the ball game.
9 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yes.
In favor of Peyton Pritchard? Really?
Yep.
And you still won by double digits? You're kidding me. Okay, now for the guts of the issue. To me, this game from start to finish was all about effing Stephen. I have made the case to you again and again, and I should have listened more closely to myself. On the biggest stage, in the biggest moments, he displays no clutch gene. He disappeared in games 5, 6, and 7 of the 2016 finals when they were up 3-1 over yours and LeBron's and Kyrie's Cavaliers, up 3-1 with 2 of the last 3 in Steph's house. He shrank and he disappeared. Against Toronto in the 2019 finals, games 3, 4, 5, and 6, he shrank and disappeared from the three-point line and shot a grand total of 33% as a career 43% three-point shooter who revolutionized the game against Toronto. And he missed the walk-off shot that could have forced a Game 7 in a closeout Game 6 in his building against Toronto. That's that guy. So what do I see? I see that the greatest shooter ever is the greatest until the stakes are highest. And then he's nowhere near the greatest. So last night boiled down to me to this. These are the facts of last night. Steph made 6 of his first 7 threes. As you say, you won't find a human who can get much hotter than that,
right,
especially on this stage in a Game 1. 6 of his first 7. It culminated with a 3 with 26 seconds left in the first quarter. From that point on, he missed 6 of his next 7. So he was 1 for his last 7 after that. So all that onslaught came in the first quarter. And then the rest of the way, he made only 1 3, and that came with 9:33 left in the third quarter to give them a 4-point lead, only a 4-point lead.
Right.
So the point was, I credit Boston hugely because they're the one team not impressed with all of his showboating and hot dogging and mouth guard wagging out of his mouth, and I'm going to put you to sleep. All the antics that go with Steph Curry's threes, they're not impressed.
Right.
They're not overwhelmed. They're not intimidated.
Yes.
They're not shrinking and quitting because they say he's just too great. They just shrugged and went on. And I loved what Al Horford said after the game. It wasn't our best game, but we just continued to fight.
Right.
That's what that team's about. They just kept saying, fight.
Sometimes you got to weather the storm.
Just fight. Just fight, because it's a long game and it's a hard game, and we do defend at a high level, and maybe we'll wear them down and out.
Right.
And slowly but surely, they wore them down and out. So could we demonstrate the difference in first quarter Steph and then late game Steph from last night? Can we first start with his onslaught in the first quarter? Because this is some magic.
Yeah.
Is what this is. If we could see the
This was some
six,
bull-jive defense by the Celtics.
You can make a case.
Come on, Skip.
Early Steph. So he's going to make 6 of his first
Well,
7.
what is this?
I have no idea what that was. That is a total breakdown of the greatest shooter ever. That's a little bit of a breakdown, and that's decent defense, but no.
I mean, but
no
that's
hope.
look at this. Come on.
Anybody home? Steph's home. He's at home. And then here he goes.
Tice, you got to show. You can't sink in the
You got to jump on him. And he's shaking his head and he's shimmying, and here we go. And I had 2 cases on the home team, and I'm thinking, I love game 1, Steph. I don't always love game 6 or 7, Steph, but I'm thinking game 1, I think I'm sitting pretty here, right?
You definitely thought you were sitting pretty with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter up by 15.
I was sitting pretty. Okay, so now could we see what happened down the stretch to Golden State? Not to Boston, but to Golden State, because at 6:05, we're going to see Steph make what turned out to be his last shot of the game. Okay. If we could see this, and then here comes the Warriors' possessions. He
up and under on D. White.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's a little up and under, and that's going to be it for him, because here he goes, and he misses. And here we go with another possession, and Draymond is going to turn it over. Can't do that, Draymond. Draymond had a horrible game to me. Can't shoot threes, Draymond. I don't even know why you try. You just give it up. And
he was 2 or 12, Skip, and you can live with him being.
Steph with his lone 3 late in the game, and it's up and short. And then Draymond goes to the free throw line, and you got a chance. You got a prayer.
He missed both of them.
He bricks both of them. And then here we go. Steph and Wiggins is going to try one, and that's way long. And then who's left? Here we go. It is, Draymond just yanks on Jayson Tatum's jersey and gets an offensive foul. Okay, way to go. And then Steph misses another
Mr. Bunny, yeah.
And here we go. And then this is the last one. This is all they got was the run-out layup, the full court pass from Steph to Clay. That was the first basket they had scored since 6:05 was left in the game. And here's what was happening in those possessions.
Yeah.
Draymond's turnover. Well, let's start with Steph's, the little up and under. That put them up 3. So they're up 3 with 6:05 to go.
Right.
And then Steph misses a little 10-footer that would have tied the game. That kept the game tied, so it would have put them ahead. Then Draymond's turnover kept it down 3. Draymond's missed 3, which was just a dumb idea. Kept it down 6. Steph misses a 3. It's still a 6-point game. Then Draymond goes brick at the free throw line. You're still down 8. Then Wiggins missed a 3. You're still down 11. Then Draymond has the jersey grab offensive foul. You're down 11. Then Steph misses the little bunny layup, and you're down 14. And finally, you get the Clay run out that cuts it all the way back to 12 with 109 left. Well, and I know it's done. It's over. And then I told you, Bielitsa made a meaningless late 3.
Right.
And if you don't give them that, the score is going to be 40-13 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Instead, it was 40-16.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Skip, I think over the course of the game, we saw just how good. And I think everybody knows after what they did to the Nets, what they did to Milwaukee, what they did to Miami, I think everybody thought that Boston had a very good team. I just think too much was made of the experience. All they talked about, nobody on the Boston team had finals experience. Everybody, and you look at the Warriors, and as Mike Tyson told me on my podcast, he said, you got to be careful when you're playing or going up against someone with inexperience. He said, because they don't know. They're just dumb enough and young enough to know they're not supposed to whip your ass.
That is correct.
And that's what happened with Boston. Didn't know any better. They didn't know they were supposed to tuck their tails and run away once they got down 15. What did they do? They stood and fought. And so now they gave themselves at least a chance, because they started making some plays. And you could see the confidence start to rise when JB started doing what he was doing. And then when Derek White, hit that shot in Steph's face, you said it was contested. You saw Steph's shoulders.
What?
It's over.
He did to Steph what Steph does.
Exactly. So Skip, that's what I saw, because teams can make up these deficits with that 3-point shot. And if somebody goes make their first 7, what are you thinking? Okay, yeah, they can't do another one like that. It's like 1, 2, 3, 7. You make 7 of your first 9, and how many shots did they make consecutive? Forget that. Even Al started putting it on the floor and hitting the mid-range. And so, Skip, you know it's over. And it's just like, and I know what they said after the game, and I know it's just one game, but it wasn't just one game. It was the manner and the fashion in which you lost that game. Skip, if it was a nip and tuck ball game for the entirety of the ball game, I could say, you know what, they made a few more plays than we did. You had a 15-point lead. You had that game in control. And when you have games in control in finals, the Warriors turn the lights out of the building. The Boston Celtics, every time they turn the lights out, the Celtics turn them back on.
You think it's sweep?
I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I think the Warriors realize this is not going to be. Everybody was, oh, well, the Warriors and Steph and Clay, they've been there. Skip, I like Boston, but the most important game in the history of the Warriors since this group been together is going to be game 2.
It will be. But I'm going to remind you about these Warriors. The reason I picked Memphis to beat them was I thought Memphis was just younger, healthier, quicker, more athletic, and just had more momentum. And what happened? They were very fortunate was Golden State to dodge all those, right?
They did,
right?
yeah.
And remember.
And then you get the Mavs to knock off Phoenix.
But remember, in Game 5 against Memphis, this team trailed by 55 points. And I told you, that's just a bad sign for a team that a lot of people had just rubber stamped as, well, they're back. You know, they're on the roll. They're going to win the whole thing this year and be right back in dynastic business, right?
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't dynastic to me to trail by 55 points. And then they were very fortunate, obviously, that Dylan Brooks got suspended effectively for 2 games and that John Morant couldn't play the last 3 with his bad knee, okay?
Skip, I don't care what anybody tells you. People do not fear the Warriors like they once did. You see, in the beginning, you could beat the Warriors. When Kevin Durant made them unbeatable. There is no way you're beating that team in 4 games. You're not beating them 4 times. You might beat them once. You might can get 2.
I agree.
But you're not getting 4 games. This team is very beatable. And the Boston Celtics says, you know what? It's kind of like the Predator, Skip. When Arnold Schwarzenegger said we cut him, if he bleed, we can kill him. They believe now.
He bled green.
Skip.
Predator bled green, right?
He did. He did. So now, no matter how big a lead they get, the Celtics believe they can walk them down because I did it. If I do it one time, I believe I can do it again.
So when I went to bed last night, my final thought was, Kevin Durant ain't walking through that door. Right?
But see, Skip, when you got KD, the ball movement so well, Skip, Clay is not the same Clay that he once was. And that's why I tried to tell you, I believe at this point right now, JB is a better player than Clay. I'm not saying, Skip, in totality, because Clay, you know, the impressive resume that he has. But anybody that's watching the game thinks Klay Thompson is a better player right now than Jaylen Brown, they're sadly mistaken or they're not watching basketball.
I'm going to save my thoughts on that for our very next
Okay,
Thank you very much.
But look, JB, let me give JB some love.
I thought you liked the other guy.
I do like I can like both guys. Why I got to choke it? There you go. Since you made me.
Yeah.
You know game 2. You know he bounced back. Well, now, what he normally gives you about...
Is this a prediction he's going to score 0 points in game 2? I don't know.
I tell you what I do right now. I'm so convinced he's going to bounce back. He's going to give me at least 26.
Really?
At least for 2 cases. I'll let you get your cases back. Let me get another squeeze of there right quick. Get out of here.
You better be careful. You're going to get addicted to that stuff.
Whoa!
Shannon's going to drink that entire bottle.
Skip, that ain't good for your soul.
I've been trying to warn you.
Man, they might better put this serve this for communion.
Yeah.
They get you right.
You need to get that in your dressing room.
No, I need that in my dressing. I definitely need this thing to get me more amp when I come out. No, I'm good.
I tell you what, if Jayson Tatum has an off night like that and the Celtics still win, that's a little scary for Golden State. All right, you guys.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.